Hello again, welcome to our study. We are in session number 2 of the Battle of Armageddon. This is road sign number 6. So let's begin. Father, thank you once again for your word. Thank you for your patience, your peace, your love for us that we just can't possibly define. Bless us in our endeavors as we open your word. We may serve you in a greater way, and we'll give you thanks and praise for it in Jesus' name. So Armageddon, this is session number 2. We talked about 200 million something, something, something in our last session. And so let's look at this. Revelation chapter 9, verse 16. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000, and I heard the number of them. Okay. Now, if you add that all up, it means 200 million. But 200 million what? Are they men? Nowhere in Revelation chapter 9 does it say they're men. Now, if we go into the Greek, 200,000, what that means in the Greek is myriads of myriads. What's a myriad? Well, a myriad basically is a bunch. It's an unknown number. In other words, what they're saying is 200 myriads and myriads. In other words, thousands upon thousands upon thousands. The point is it's not a specific number of 200 million. It's a large number. But see, the Jews didn't look at millions. They didn't understand millions as we understand them today. So again, the army of the horsemen were 200 myriads and myriads, and I heard the number of them, but nowhere does it say there are 200 men. Let's continue. Verse 17, chapter 9, and thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them having breastplates of fire, and of jacinth, brimstone. And the heads of the horses were like the heads of lions. Out of their mouth issued fire and smoke and brimstone. So we've got horses that have the heads of a lion, and out of their mouth comes smoke and brimstone. Okay, verse 18. By these three was a third part of men killed by fire, by the smoke, and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouth. By these three was a third part of men killed by the fire, by the smoke, by the brimstone. Verse 19. For their power is in their mouth and in their tails, for their tails were like unto serpents, and they had heads, and with them they do hurt. Okay, no way in the world you can look at those 3 verses and say, okay, that's a bunch of human beings. They're not defined as human beings. And understand they come from the bottomless pit. That should tell us what they are and what they're there to do. So we have an army, a huge army, an army that cannot be numbered. What do? Well, they're there to kill a third part of men by their smoke, by their brimstone, which issued out of their mouth. Let's go on. Now, some will compare Revelation 9 with Revelation 16, and I see no comparison here, but we'll look at it. Revelation 16 and 12. And the 6th angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. Now, some will say, well, that's the 200 million man army. Okay, let's assume that it is. We have some logistical issues. How do you get 200 million people? From China, as many of these scholars have stated, kings of the East, they say China, it could be anywhere, but it's the kings of the East as the word tells us. So how do you get them there? There's some logistical issues we've got to look at. Are they men or are they something else? Are they demonic beings? You see, if they're demonic beings from the bottomless pit, as the text tells us, wouldn't be any issue in getting them there. They would be there immediately. They travel much faster than we can. Demonic beings? Quite possibly. Go back and read the description in Revelation chapter 9 and you'll see exactly what we're talking about. Whatever they are, wherever they come from, it's the demonic beings from the bottomless pit. Nowhere does it say a 200 million man army. So there are logistical issues. I mean, you got to have time to travel. Takes a long time to travel from China all the way over to Israel. It's thousands of miles across what could be the most inhospitable territory in the world. A long distance to travel. What about the provisions? There's no motels on the way. What about gasoline and food? And it goes on and on and on. Remember now, you've got 200 million men that have to be in one position at one place at one time. And the space to travel, that's a long procession of vehicles to get 200 million men there. Remember, they're not flying there. They're crossing the Euphrates River. They're coming by vehicle, as most scholars would say. Well, what about the real estate? Well, we got to look at that too. We have 10 million vehicles. Yeah, 10 million vehicles going to transport 200 million men there. That's 225,000 miles of vehicles. Now, that's around the world a whole bunch of times. You see, it took us 6 months to transport half of 1 million men from the United States over to Iraq for Desert Storm. It took 6 months to airlift them there. And realistically, you can't fit 200 million soldiers in Israel, shoulder to shoulder, neck to nose. You can't fit that many people in there. Not to mention the tanks and the vehicles, the jeeps, and all the rest of the things that they have as they're prepared for war. So it would make sense that 200 myriads of myriads are nothing other than demonic hordes of people. Demonic hordes to kill people. Will there be men there? Absolutely. Will there be armies there? Absolutely. Will many men die? Absolutely. The blood will run, as we understand it, for some 200 miles, 4 to 5 feet deep. That's a lot of blood. I submit to you that what we find in Revelation chapter 9 is a demon army that goes about to kill 1/3 of all men, and they will accomplish their purpose. They won't have to travel. They won't have to worry. When the bottomless pit is opened up, they'll be there immediately. Well, if we look at the scenario of how things will transpire, as we understand it, there are other ways that people look at this. The rapture of the church will happen first. Those who are alive and remain in the coming of the Lord will be caught up. The term there is harpazo, and yes, we do have a session on that, a couple of sessions, in fact. And the rapture of the church will take all the true Christians away. Jesus will meet them in the air, and they'll be gone. After that, there will come a 10-nation confederacy that will emerge, and the endless ideas as to who they are, not really important right now. From that 10-nation confederacy, there's going to come a man, the Antichrist, who will come to power. He'll look good. He'll sound good. He'll have all the problems solved, and everybody will say, wow, this guy has got answers to issues that nobody has. Let's give him the power, and they will give him the power to rule this world. Well, 3 of those 10 will oppose him, and they will be, how shall we say it, taken care of. The other 7 will say, okay, fine, we can't go war against you, so go ahead, do what you want to do. Now, one of the things he's going to do at the very beginning of his quest for world dominance is to confirm a covenant with the Jews. And one of the covenants that he'll confirm with them is to go ahead and build their temple and start their Mosaic practices of sacrifice. Now, where they're going to build that temple, how, when, that's a number of ideas, and scholars bat that back and forth constantly. Another thing he'll do is the 666 monetary policy, where you will have to take a mark of badge of allegiance or a pledge of allegiance to this man, the Antichrist. And if you take the mark, you've damned your soul. Very simply put, Revelation chapter 14 makes that quite clear. Do not take the mark. Well, there's going to be world and religious domination, and that's okay because he's got the money, he's got the politics, he's got the military, he's got the world sewed up. But the scenario is far from over. You see, all of these things are easily done because very carefully, very cautiously, He's going to show himself to be the greatest man this world has ever seen. And the world will fall in love with him, at least initially. He'll initiate policies and answer questions and solve problems that nobody can solve. He'll look good for a while. But midweek through this nightmare, the Antichrist will find himself moving into Jerusalem. He will enter the temple that is built at that time. He'll set himself up as God and demand that he be worshipped as God. Now, the Jews call that the abomination of desolation. The temple is in desolation because there's an abomination, an idol, a false god in the temple proper. The Jews will flee. They'll run into the mountains to get away from this man who has one thought, and that's to kill every single Jew. Well, this will begin the last 3.5 years of this great tribulation. So what happens at the end of this great tribulation? The enemies will abound. You see, the political factions will arise. Religious turmoil because he's demanded to be worshipped. Monetary dominance. You can't buy, you can't sell, you can't do anything without his approval, and that mark that's on your body is a mark of damning your soul. You take that mark. Revelation 14 will tell you, you take the mark, you've damned your soul. It's just that simple. And then the arrogance that is unbridled. He is God, or so he says he is, and he demands all worship him. All of those things have caused the world to come to a boiling point, and Armageddon is soon to come. We'll see you on the next study.